Welcome to Baha'i Lights. My name is Sav Bisagyan, and today we're going to talk about the power of prayer and the power of service. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
There's a new world in the making. Won't you sing along with me? We are one family. We are too close not to let it be. We are sisters and brothers.
Hi, welcome back to Baha'i Lights. My name is Sav Bisagyan. In this segment, we're going to talk about the power of prayer. Here, my friend Efatina. Hi, Efatina. How you doing?
Hey, Sarv, what's up?
Good. So, how you doing? What's going on?
Not much. I'm actually just looking at the books.
Oh, yeah?
Window.
There's
I didn't know we had so many.
And we have a lot of Baha'i books here.
This one
Yeah.
really interested me. What's it about?
Gems of from the world's greatest scriptures. I've never read that book actually, but.
It makes you want to read it.
So what do you do for what interests you, Efatina?
Right now I'm in college. I'm going to MJC.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying my English classes. Not much else. I'm in 2 history classes right now that are taking all of my time. What about you?
I'm basically serving too, I do a little school, but I'm thinking of doing a year of service, so. And so we were just gonna talk about the power of prayer. If you would like to give us an example of what do you think it is? What does it mean to you?
What I know about prayer is that I'm supposed to pray every morning and evening, and it sets up my day. It makes my day happier, livelier, more enjoyable. I appreciate prayer. I like meditating over the prayer.
Yeah.
This morning I read a healing prayer because my dad is sick, so
Yeah.
I think about him every morning and evening. It reminds me to call him, talk to him, make sure he's a part of my life.
What kind of power does it have on us or people in the next world? What kind of power is it, do you know?
Well, when I pray, it feels as though I'm actually speaking to God and that he's actually listening to me.
Oh, okay.
So it makes me feel as though I'm learning and gaining things and messages that God has given me. And he's hearing my thoughts and hearing my wishes, and sort of it's just as though I'm speaking to God, and that when I speak, when he speaks back, that I know that somehow, some way, he's going to confirm me and that he's going to speak back. And it might not be in a way that I thought I needed or had to have or anything like that.
Like when we pray to God, should we ask him for what we want, or should we just are we glorifying him? What do you think? What is the best way to pray, you think?
When I pray, I think of the person, or I think of the people I want to pray for, not always myself, and I never ask for a specific thing. Because I feel as though it's not my place to ask, it's his place to sort of give in any way that I might need help. More often than not, he answers in the most unexpected ways.
Could you explain to us what kind of prayers there are and what types of prayers we use as Baha'is?
Well, there's a prayer for practically everything. I mean, there's one for spiritual growth, or a whole section on spiritual growth. There are obligatory prayers that we're supposed to say. There are 3. There's a short one, and I guess the short one you can say at noon, anytime after noon, but before the sun sets. There's the medium one that you're supposed to say twice, and I guess these are all like lengths. So the long prayer, I guess you have to in the medium and the long one, you have to do like ablutions and there's a whole set of
Like
genuflections that you're supposed to do. And by doing so, you're respecting God, appreciating God, thanking God.
There are like names of different types of prayers. Could you explain to us a few of them? Like,
Some names of prayers, like the healing prayer.
yeah, okay, there's a healing prayer.
Okay, so the healing prayer is what I say when I think about my family members who may need healing, or when I may need healing, maybe not in a literal way, but like
Spiritual
in
healing.
a spiritual way.
Yeah.
Maybe I've taken myself into account each day, and when I do that, maybe there's something that needs betterment.
Yeah.
There's always something that needs betterment.
There are also like prayers for forgiveness, right?
Prayers for forgiveness, prayers for unity, prayers. There's a prayer for America. There's a whole contents, and in the contents they've listed them all. So you can just look at the contents if you need help figuring out what you want to pray about.
So, Fatina, there are prayers and there are writings in the Baha'i Faith, and I wanted to know what are the difference.
Well, when you say a prayer, it's as though these are words from God that help you communicate to Him. And when you read the writings, it's as though He's giving you an answer back, or it's a message from God to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a circle or a cycle.
Oh, okay. Good. See, I like when I've read the writings, it talks about how Baha'u'llah's words are creative.
Mm-hmm.
What makes the words creative? Like, could you explain to us?
Well, it's very difficult for me to say write about anything spiritual, because it's sort of an unexplainable essence that's really hard to describe. So when you read the writings, it's as though some other force or some other spirit has picked the perfect words to sort of explain something or describe something that is so hard to describe for any other person.
Right. So basically, God's words are just creative, huh? 'Cause
yeah, they're very descriptive, especially the writings of Abdul Baha. I find that those are the most descriptive.
as spiritual beings, I've realized that when I say prayers, there's like this connection between me and God, like you were saying earlier, that it's become almost just a part of me now. Like I can't go without a day not praying. It's just become like this connection. You're basically telling God that you have become you've gotten to know Him, and you're faithful to Him, and it's just like other religions, they say prayers too, but the Baha'i Faith has way more prayers, and it's just for this time that we live in. I think that's why we have a lot of prayers. So yeah.
I appreciate all of the prayers, and every time I learn a new one or when I memorize a prayer, it's really beautiful because you have it with you all the time and you can say it no matter what.
Yeah.
So, in your head, out loud, doesn't matter. Are there any writings that you're reading right now?
Yeah, I'm reading this book called The Book of Certitude.
The Book of Certitude. I haven't read that one yet. What's it about?
It's really it's about Baha'u'llah. He's basically just he kind of revised the old scriptures from the past dispensations. Like he just like went over them, and because a lot of people kind of added to them. There's a lot of interpretations that were wrong, and Baha'u'llah basically he fixed them. And it just talks about it's basically about the Bab, the manifestation. It's all about him, except he foretells all the he prophesizes everything, and then at the end it talks about the Bab, and how it makes more sense that this is the promised day. It just kind of he's trying to make sense. So yeah, that's what I'm getting out of it so far, and it's really interesting. It talks about the Quran and the Christian scriptures and all that. So it's really good.
I was reading, I just started The Divine Art of Living, and I'm really loving it because my grandparents said that when they first got married, this was the book that they used to sort of shape their life and shape their marriage. So I'm really looking forward to reading it. I just finished the first chapter. Have you read that one yet?
I have not.
I think it's actually probably on, it's right here. And the first chapter we're reading it kind of in a study circle type fashion, but not, because we're taking the first paragraph and just sort of we read a paragraph. It's I guess I know where they all come from.
Yeah.
But I do know that each time we read the paragraph, we stop and we reflect and we meditate on it and we talk about it as a group and what the paragraph meant to us and how deeply it applied to our lives. And it's really it's a very way to literally take the writings and use them in your life, so I can appreciate it.
Yeah. It's really important to know how to live the right way in life, in the world.
It gives really good guidance.
Thanks, Epicina.
It was nice to
great
talk.
talking to you. Yeah.
Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, stay tuned. It'll be right back after this.
What is prejudice?
It's a wall that stops people from understanding each other.
I always thought you were the best. I guess I always will. I always felt that we were blessed, and I feel that way still. Sometimes we took the hard road, but we always saw it through. If I had only one friend left, I'd want it to be.
I've come here today to learn a little bit about friendship.
We could have let all those surface differences keep us from being friends, but they just added spice. I would say that. You were the first person I called when I found out I had cancer. In these last days, and even after she's gone from her body, and we're taking care of her and doing those last sweet things that we can, to show her with the care that we treat her body how much we loved her in life. This is when my girlfriend called me up to ask me to do. And I don't think she called me because I was black, and she didn't call me because I was a woman. She called me because she was my girlfriend, and she knew that I would do it, and she knew that I would do it with all the love that I had.
Is the Baha'i idea of the soul different from other religions?
It's a blessing from God, a little piece of God that really is who we are. Not our job, not our money, not our education, not our color, not our race, not our religion, not our background, not any of that stuff. But that peace that God gave us, that's all God wants back. And we talk a lot about going home. It's not a white home or a black home. It's everybody's home. It's not a Christian home or a Muslim home or a Jewish home. God's got one home, and all of us are going to it. And this thing, this radiant, wonderful thing that really is what animates you and has kept you going all this time, this connection to God, God's just calling it back.
That I could move a mountain with someone to tend it to. If I had only one friend left, I'd want it to be you.
Welcome back to Baha'i Lights. My name is Sabi Salkayan, and my friend here, Marcos. How you doing, Marcos?
Hello.
We're gonna talk about the importance of service as Baha'is and why we serve. If you'd like to explain what's so important about that.
Serving is a big part of the Baha'i life. It really makes up who we are and how we learn from different things, and it's really important, What do you think?
Serving God is basically showing that, you sacrifice your time for His time, and you're actually, concerned with the well-being of the community and people, and basically, society. Whole, one of my questions was, Could you explain like what we're doing as Baha'is to make a better world?
Well, serving is really important to us as Baha'is, and really what we're trying to do is establish different groups in different neighborhoods where we can transform that neighborhood into a loving and peaceful, unifying environment. And the way we do this is we have core activities which involve children's classes where we teach children from ages 5 to 10, junior youth groups where we help the junior youth travel through a crucial stage of their life and learn how to do things from 11 to 14, and then the youth age, which is like mine and Sarv's age, where we 15 to 25, where we try to help the community in any way we can, get some young energy is in there, and also study circles and devotionals. Study circles are actually groups where all ages can come together and learn things that they haven't thought of before, think of things in a new perspective.
I was wondering, what are the distinguishing features about the Baha'i children's classes and the junior youth classes, the junior youth empowerment programs? That's what it's called. Because almost every religion has a junior youth class and a children's class. What makes Baha'i children's classes different and the junior youth groups different?
Well, in a Baha'i children's class, the difference is that everyone learns to work together in a very positive manner, and they all are learning something by doing different activities. They get some, action so they can run and do different things. They like to do that. They can do arts of some kind. They can also do music and other things, that gets them working together. And in junior youth groups, that's where the Junior Youth Spiritual Empowerment Program, as we call it, is we're trying to get the junior youth to do, extracurricular activities, service, things like that, arts, so they, especially service, because that's really important for them to learn how they can affect the world in a positive way.
The Baha'i Faith is like a precious gift, a treasure, that the mentality of Baha'is is to share.
Yeah. Like when I go out and serve, I really feel like, I feel good inside because I feel like I'm giving a gift to these people, I feel like they need this gift, and I'm happy to give it to them,
Yeah. And you find that a lot of people who really just look for the truth and read the writings of the faith, the Baha'i Faith, their whole heart just completely transformed. They become just a new, just their soul kind of awakens, and a lot of good things happen.
Yeah, definitely, especially when they really understand how their experiences apply to the way the Baha'i writing work,
Yeah.
It's really awesome to see in their hearts, how they feel.
Yeah.
How it relates to them. It's really important. That's why service doesn't only make up we're not only helping them, we're helping ourselves, because we learn a lot from serving others, It makes up who we are as Baha'is.
When I started going out and serving, which was 2 years ago, I was nervous. I was like, oh my God, who am I gonna meet and who am I gonna talk with? It's hard to realize. And then I used to think about, what am I gonna say to them?
Yeah.
I know about the Baha'i Faith, but how am I gonna introduce it into a conversation with somebody? So a lot of the writings, they apply to almost every conversation. If you read the writings and you realize, in every 99% of every conversation in the world, you could weave anything inside that, And it took some time for me to actually deepen on the writings and then go out and actually do it, because we do by learning. We
Learn by doing.
We learn by doing.
Yeah.
And then after these 2 years, it's gotten better. It's become much more easier to share the message. It's really the Baha'i writings or the Baha'i Faith. There's nothing disagreeable. If you really are looking for the truth, it's there. It's right behind you or in front of you, anywhere. But I mean, when I talk to people who have barriers and they shun me or something,
You don't let that get you down.
Yeah, it doesn't really discourage me. I just realize that this person is just, he has a wrong impression on what I'm trying to say. Or it depends on the person who's teaching too, you know. It depends what you're telling them. You know, you just have to get used to being very tactful and, you know, attentive, and just don't be afraid. Be very confident, you know, because you're not telling him something that's bad.
Yeah,
you know,
helping them.
You know.
Yeah, it's very important.
It's God's plan, and it's nothing we made. It's something is from God.
Yeah. Another thing about service as Baha'is, like, it's very important to us for another reason, is because when we serve, we really can understand how the understanding of the people around us, what their perspective of the world is. And it's good for us to learn that so that we can help weave in different ideas about how we can change the world with Baha'i, you know, guidance that we have from our beloved manifestation, Baha'u'llah. So
That's very true, yeah. Yeah. It's just the reason why it's so valid for this age is because it's time, you know. I mean, it's been 2,000 years, you know.
Of course.
It's, you know, a lot of people think that God has forsaken us, but you know, he's still helping, and I mean, if you think about it, at the time of Moses, people, you know, the people from Abraham's religion, they opposed Moses because they didn't know. Like I said, God works in mysterious ways, you know. And in time of Christ, the Jews were, you know, kind of opposing Christ. You know, it's just, it keeps happening every dispensation. And this time, all religions are opposing each other and the Baha'i Faith. But you know,
do Baha'is teach people of all ages, or do they just teach only a certain age group?
No. This Baha'i Faith is universal. It meets the needs of all the peoples around the world. It really applies to. It has all. The solution of every problem is basically the remembrance of God, and a lot of the teachings kind of help us lead to a better world. You know, because I mean, I'm not saying that any other religions don't have the right solution, but it's just that the time has changed. You know, we're going to this progressive age, you know, and we can't use a cure from 1,000 years ago and expect that it could cure the problems like a bodily disorder for this time. You know, like if you talk to doctors. My example is, you know, there's always this like progressive thing going on, and the Baha'i, and we call it the progressive revelation, basically.
What else do you think about when you're serving?
Well, that's a very good question. Yeah. Well.
For me, I know I think about things like, you know, of course I think about, you know, some negative things. What if they don't want to know anything? But more importantly, we should think about what they need to hear, and as long as we let them know what we're trying to do, that's our main goal, isn't it? Right?
Yes, as long as we could.
So what are we doing?
Share the message.
What is our purpose when we go out and serve?
Well, as Baha'is, as you know, like we know that the betterment of the world could be accomplished through pure and goodly deeds, you know. And you have to ask yourselves, what's a pure and goodly deed? Is it staying home and just playing on, you know, video games, or watching TV, or being rude to our parents, you know, or our wives or children? Is that a pure and goodly deed?
No.
Well, as Baha'is, we believe that
Yeah.
a pure and goodly deed is the act of, for an example, service, going out and sharing the word, you know, sharing that. As Baha'is, we believe that this is how we should live our lives. So service is important as Baha'is, right?
Yeah, definitely. Without service, I mean, Baha'is are really just a group of people, you know, just helping themselves and not others, you know. So that's why it's important for us to go out and serve our fellow mankind. That's why we do
Share
it.
the message. Thanks, and we'll be right back after the break.
For a free copy of the Baha'is magazine, call 800-22-UNITE. The magazine is filled with articles and photographs of Baha'is working to create a better world. Find out about this growing movement. The Baha'is magazine describes a community of people who are making a difference. Call now for your free copy, 800-22-UNITE, or visit the website at www.us.bahai.org. There's no obligation.
Thanks for joining us. Again, my name is Sav Misalgan, and we talked about the power of prayer and the power of service. See you next time on Baha'i Lives.